Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and today I'm going to be looking at the new WoW social contract that's going to go live in 9.2.5. I'm not hugely emotional about this in any way, good or bad, but a lot of people are giving their thoughts on it, so I figured I'd give mine on it. I always feel like I have a little bit of a nuanced view on things, not super emotional, and so yeah. I'll go through read this for you. Have my glasses on because this is quite small, and so I will read through the whole thing because I doubt you'll be able to see it very well either. So let's go ahead and get started here. So social contract. This is going to go live 9.2.5, there's some misnomers about it too. So I'll cover those as I go through it. Hail, traveler, and welcome to World of Warcraft. Azeroth is a living world full of people like you, other players with different backgrounds, cultures, experiences, and histories who have all come together to play World of Warcraft. Every player deserves to have a world they feel safe in, so please take a minute to read our social contract. Now, this is an important line here. This is, while in Azeroth, do your best to. So these aren't rules. The next things I'm going to read are not rules. These are like tips. These are like, hey, if you do this kind of thing, it makes the game better, right? A better community, better culture. Connect with other players and make friends. I do wish more people would do that. Being courteous in group content can help you and your teammates have the best time possible. Sending a friendly hello message can set up your group up for success. Very true, especially in the looking for group tool. That's generally what they're talking about here. Very true there. If you can do that, not everybody's friendly, not everybody's outgoing. But if you have it in you, that's a very good point there. Play as a team with your fellow players, whether in dungeons, raids, battlegrounds, arenas, or out questing in the world. Do your best to support your team through your communication and behaviors so you can all celebrate your success together. So this is just teamwork, right? I think there could be more of this even in guilds and stuff. I wish some people did a little bit more of a teamwork. This is it's supposed to be an MMO, right? So you're supposed to be working with other players, and we've definitely got away from that. A lot of that's Blizzard's fault, no doubt. Yeah, not as important as the first one in my opinion, though. Assist other players that you encounter in the world. Maybe they need some help defeating a tough monster, or maybe they could use a little healing. Now, this is one I've always done. When I made my paladin, at the beginning of Burning Crusade, I think, either that or at the very end of vanilla, my first paladin, and this is something I always did, and I still do to this day. If I see somebody, there's still new players in the game now, which some people don't really think about, and I'll see somebody, I'll be out doing gold things, like trying to doing old treasure chests or old rare spawns and stuff like that, and I will see a new player about to die. They don't have any heirloom gear on, and I will save their life at the last second, kill if there's more enemies around them, kill them for them, and then be like, hey, you need anything before I leave, make sure they're okay. So I definitely think the first one and this third one are really, really good ones. Help answer questions others have in chat channels like general or trade. We were all newbies once. One person offering some help can go a long way. This is true. Most people just kind of get shit on in trade chat or whatever. Go use Google, that kind of stuff. I actually do this one as well. I usually whisper somebody, especially if it's like a really good question that may not be intuitive in game. Like, how do I do this? Or do I need should I buy whatever legendary and then buy the other one later? They're just a new player. You're like, no, if you're gonna buy the other one later, just buy that one now. That kind of thing. So then the next things I think are going to be the actual rules. So these are all suggestions that would make the game better. I highly agree with two of them. Number 4, I partake in personally. Number 2, I don't think is as important, unless you are in a guild, right? So you are literally a team, because you're not a team just because you're in a looking for group tool with somebody. But if you're in a literal team, then yeah, definitely that one. We recognize that the internet is not always a safe haven. With that in mind, please note that the following behaviors are not accepted in Azeroth. So these are rules. These are not accepted. So they should have put this in white too to kind of distinguish them. So this is do your best to. These are not accepted. Definitely tone difference there. Let's put your team through it. Okay, so it picks up right here. So, hate speech, including negative comments that target another player's identity, including aspects like race, gender, or ability. So, if you don't know what this means, right, you're not into this kind of stuff, you just don't talk about this kind of stuff, don't call people the N word. I think most people can agree with that. So, that's like race. Obviously, there's other slurs as well. Let's just not talk, let's just not infer anybody's race or give a crap about it. It's World of Warcraft. Gender, obviously, women who play this game get crapped on a lot, especially if they ever enter like a Discord server or something like that. Once a female is basically outed in this community, it can get pretty terrible for her. So let's respect women. I agree with that. And then ability, that kind of means like, I'm going to use the word here just because that's what it means. But like one thing it means is like don't call somebody retarded, right? Now, if you're from my generation or older, that just is kind of a word that we used. It's not necessarily nice, and it does matter how you're using it, I guess, and if you're talking to a friend or a stranger or whatever. But if somebody's screwing up or whatever, and you just go straight to that, calling them retarded or whatever. If you go straight to that, then that's probably not good because they actually could have something wrong with them or whatever. When I was playing Classic for a little bit, I actually had a tank that had something wrong with him. His friend ended up apologizing to me and the other people about it because he was like super aggressive or whatever. And we're all trying to kind of be like nice about it because we wanted to finish our run or whatever. We wanted to finish. It was like a Dead Mines run, and we were trying to be nice. I think some people said some kind of mean things or whatever to him, but like that was something that like, especially younger me, I might have been like, dude, you're effing retarded or whatever. And that shouldn't be the first thing you say in anything. Like I just, for me, again, I'm an older generation, but I'm in my low 30s, but I think it's different that if someone is calling you a bunch of names and stuff, that you say it back to them as just kind of like, again, name calling. I think it's different when you're like implying, hey, you're stupid, therefore you're retarded or whatever, and they could actually have something wrong with them or whatever. So obviously ability can mean other things as well. It can mean like wheelchair, whatever. I don't know all the proper words for it, but there's other things there too. So mostly I agree with this, right? I don't think any of this needs to really be said. I think you could flatly say, hey, you're not a very good player, I'm leaving the group or whatever. You're not good enough for this content, I'm leaving the group. I think you can do all that kind of stuff without having to go into that, essentially. And my views on this have changed as I've gotten older, right? I've gotten more mature. I have kids now. I have a wife, so I've never been, anti-woman at all. But, I never, now especially, right? I have a wife I respect. And you teach your kids to be a certain way, too. So definitely more evolved on this than I was back in the day. Harassment, threats, or abusive, derogatory language and behaviors. This is one I'm completely guilty of. I'll be honest, right? Not anytime recently, but I did have like kind of a spat in Korthia with somebody who was tagging mobs, which tagging mobs to not let somebody else kill them or whatever is not like acceptable behavior either. But I kind of like got mad at him, like, why are you being like this or whatever? And I called him an idiot or a jerk or an asshole or something like that, right? And they're like, why? Then they said something mean to me, whatever, and it was a bad time, like. And so obviously I don't want to do that. I don't want to act that way. It's better just to walk away from the situation, report the person if they're breaking TOS or breaking a rule or whatever. That's obviously a better thing to do, and something that I continue to try to get better at is this one. Never threaten anybody, right? Like that should go without saying. Harassment, derogatory language. I think sometimes those kind of things happen naturally in a game like World of Warcraft. But threats, that's not really good. Abuse is not really good either. Spamming advertising or other disruptive behaviors. So this is mostly aimed at like gold sellers and stuff like that, and like third-party stuff. So they already said they're going to crack down on it. But I guess some people have slipped through the cracks, and I guess this is the final warning. Hey, you're going to keep doing this, we're going to ban you. Just stop doing it. And I think most people agree with the last one for sure. If you harm your fellow adventurers with any of the above behaviors, You're subject to punishment up into including suspension of your account. It's a big world out there with all sorts of people in it, so please try to be respectful of each other. And if you ever feel like somebody is acting against this code, please report those behaviors so that our team can look into it. Together, you can help us make World of Warcraft a safe home, home away from home for everyone. So, my general thoughts on this are, I'm highly in favor of 3 of the 4 like suggestions. Those are just suggestions, and I think more people should do those things for sure. And we have 3 rules here. So this is what most people are actually assuming that all of these are rules, but we have 3 rules, and I think most of the community, all sides of it, agree against the spamming advertising thing. I don't think that's controversial whatsoever, the spamming advertising one. And then we have the harassment one. This one's a little bit more vague, right? Because somebody could be doing something to you that Blizzard doesn't consider harassment, but maybe like 60% of the player base would consider harassment, and then you say something to them and then they report you, and because Blizzard considers that word or whatever harassment, even though the other person might have started it, sometimes you get the second person, you catch the second person. So I think this one should be definitely outlined a little bit more. I truly believe so. I'll give a story here. So I've actually gotten multiple people banned for acting really bad. I don't know what it is about me. Sometimes I bring out the worst in people, apparently. And like people, because I normally I'll send a quick whisper to somebody like, hey, why are you doing this? Hey, what you're doing is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. Why are you being an idiot? Which I guess is, could be considered derogatory. That's why they should probably define it a little bit more. And then people will fly off the handle at you, saying all kinds of crazy stuff to you, telling you to die, threats, stuff like that, right? And, sometimes you'll say something mean back to them. But, like, if someone tells me to die, I'll be like, you're just a loser, whatever. Like, I'm being mean back to them. But it's clear from, like, the chat logs what happened. So what I've literally done multiple times since I've been playing is I just report it to Blizzard, and I tell them what time that it occurred, tell them it's all, just check the chat logs. I tell them I said some negative things too, but you'll definitely see the issue if you check the chat logs or whatever. And it's always worked for me, right? I'm usually not going to be someone who, like, I might start a whisper, but the whisper is not going to be derogatory or threatening or anything like that. It's going to be like, what the heck's going on here? What are you doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then they'll escalate it usually, like the person that I have to end up reporting. So I think there will be, what should I say here? So up until now, they've always been fair with this, the harassment stuff. Like if someone clearly started it or someone's clearly being a jerk to you, then they give you a little bit of slack on your response. That's been the case before. I would love clarification on this to see if that's how it's going to continue to be. I'm just going to not do anything anymore because I don't want to get my account suspended. So even if someone's being a jerk, I guess I'll just click report and report them for whatever they're doing, and maybe they'll get punished for it, maybe they won't. But yeah, I would love more clarification here. Now this top one, obviously I'm completely in favor of this top one. But this is one that for some reason gets the most controversy. Hate speech, including negative comments, so you can't make fun of someone's identity, gender, race, or ability or whatever. So like, I don't understand what the issue with this one is, but some people are just really against it. The truth is, there's just people in the WoW community who are racist. There's people in the WoW community, like in any community, right? But the WoW community is rather large, and in any community, you're going to find these things 100%. And for some reason, in the WoW community, though, they're like very vocal and feel like they have power or something in the community. So like, people are like, what, I can't call you the N-word anymore? I'm never playing this game again. Or I have to treat women with respect. I'm never playing this game again. And obviously that stuff is a little bit crazy to me. So I 100% agree with first rule. Second rule, I'd love a little bit more clarification. And I think everybody agrees with the third rule, hopefully. So it's not really anything big here. Like, it's always been against the rules to do number one. People have just gotten away with it. It's always been against the rules to do number 3, but people got away with it. So those two are just being enforced now. Number 2 could use a little bit of clarification, in my opinion, because I've just been in these arguments before where, maybe I don't know if I've ever actually started one, in the almost 2 decades of playing. I don't think I've ever started one, but I've been in them, and I would hope I wouldn't get suspended just because somebody is basically trolling me or goading me or whatever. So I would love to see some clarification on the number two, and maybe I'll accept my community council thing to bring that up or something, or maybe it's probably already brought up. Maybe I should just check out the forums and see if anyone's talking about clarifying the harassment one, because I'd love to see that. So that's my thoughts on the social contract. Again, just trying to provide a little bit of nuance here. Mostly wanted to clarify that there's only 3 rules. These other things are tips. You're not going to get banned if you don't help somebody who's fighting someone and about to die. You're not going to get banned for it. You're just a jerk, right? If you just walk by somebody and watch them die, you're just kind of a jerk. Whatever. You're having a bad day. Whatever. That's not going to get you banned. But calling them the N-word afterwards, that'll get you banned. And I think there's a clear distinction there, of course. So, just a little clarification on this one. That's all I want. That's my only negative on it. And it's not really a negative. I just want clarification. That way I know what never to do, essentially, because it is a little bit vague. So that's it for this one, guys. Just want to give my thoughts on this. As always, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.